In this session, we're going to talk about TinkerCAD Circuits. And TinkerCAD is a program that originated to do 3D modeling, but they also combined it eventually with some other software into one package. And now you can also do TinkerCAD Circuits, where you can create, simulate, and emulate things. We're going to use it as a documentation tool for any kind of prototyping, breadboard circuit, for Arduino circuits, and different things like that. So there are times in electronics when you need to draw something as it represents its physical connection or the way it's built, in addition to the schematic circuit, and TinkerCAD Circuits is going to do that for us. So let's give this a try. You see it up on the screen. Everything's going to be done on a screen capture in this session. One of the first things that I want to do, always want to do, is find a tutorial. How do you do this? Someone else probably has done this before, and we're just going to really hit the basic parts, and I'm going to let you look for these tutorials, give you some links, and let you on your own to try this out and see what happens, and see how well you can do it. So my first window here is Instructables. There's a person called Becky Stern. She used to work for Adafruit. Her explanations are great. Her videos are good. It doesn't get any easier than to do this. So she put together a series of Instructables to work with TinkerCAD Circuits, and you can see them at these links. I will include these below this video for you. I would say look through all these. If you're learning anything, it's going to be experience. You're going to have to play with the software a little bit. You're going to have to do some stuff, but it's really nice to have a place to start. These videos, entries by Becky Stern are great. They're easy to follow. I would suggest them highly. Next thing is the Autodesk is the people that now own this software, and they put together some links for getting started with TinkerCAD. I would suggest them also. And finally, this video is great. Becky Stern is being interviewed by the guy from Cool Tools, and they quickly go over the use of TinkerCAD. So I'm going to switch over to TinkerCAD here. It's a web-based program. You don't have to download the software. And as I said before, in the electronic world, sometimes you need to build a circuit to learn or to test something out, and we usually use breadboards to do that. When you do that, it's hard to document what your circuit looks like. You obviously could do it with a schematic, and then you should be able to take that schematic and build a circuit. People with less experience in electronics can't do that too well, and they like to see that physical or mechanical representation of a circuit. And that's what TinkerCAD does for us. So why would electronic technicians that have done this for 10 years and have some experience, even in the industrial area of electronics, do this? Sometimes it's not about the schematic itself. It's about a block diagram or the concept of how a circuit is connected or done. And this does it very well. There was another circuit, and it still exists, called Fritzing. And let's see if I can find that link for you while we're here. Typing Fritzing in here to search for it, and everybody liked this. It was used widely in the Arduino based community, and it's still a pretty cool tool for drawing circuits and doing that. The problem is it hasn't been updated for a while, and there's always promises that they're going to do that, but I'm not so sure whether it'll be live or not. But Fritzing and TinkerCAD Circuits fill a pretty similar role. So you can fool with Fritzing too if you want, just might not be there in the future. So TinkerCAD is an online app. There's no software to download, which is nice because you don't have to update it either, but you do have to create an account. So I created a TinkerCAD account. You can go to tinkercad.com, create your account, log in. One thing when you first come into TinkerCAD, I'm going to click on Designs over here on the left. By default, they think that's what you want to do, and they bring that up, and I'm sure there's a way to force it to come up in circuits, but I haven't found that yet. So I have a 3D printer. I fool with it sometimes. TinkerCAD's okay to use, not the tool that I use. So I have to, after I log in and created my account, I had to come over here and click on Circuits right away. So you see that I have a number of circuits here created. I've created more than this, and I've shared some of those out, and you can fool with them too. But you can create a new circuit here, or you can go to the gallery and look at examples, and that's another good way to learn how to use a tool or even advance. So let's click on Gallery, up on the left, click on Gallery. And if I scroll up the screen there, you'll see once again it's over on 3D Designs by default. So I got to click on Circuits, left clicking, and you can see all these circuits that people have built, and they're great examples. Look how nice and lined up and organized things are in this circuit, even though it might be in a language that you don't understand the title, but you definitely can understand the schematic. So there's a lot of great examples in here, and if I load more designs in, it's there. Now, we might use the tool a little bit differently than the focus that you see here, but we're definitely going to use some things out of here that you see here. So this gallery lets you click on a circuit. You can copy and tinker with it, which brings it over here. It just so happens that this circuit is by Becky Stern also. Very good examples and a nice way to learn and do it. So I'm going to close this out. I don't want to copy and tinker that at this point. And I'm going to go back to my account where my circuits are, and it might be a little bit hard to find that. One way to get there is just click up here in this top left hand side. I'm going to left click in this TinkerCAD icon, and when I click on there, it comes back to my home spot where I come when I log in, and notice it's on 3D Designs. I'm going to click on Circuits again and do it. So I'm going to create a new circuit just to give you a feel for what's happening here and how to do it. I'm going to expect you, as always, work with the software on your own. Do some things you want to do. Work on it every day for 2 months or 3 months until you can't forget it. Keep on pushing yourself a little bit. Look at examples, learn something new. That's what you're going to have to do. But I'm going to give you a start at least, and the tutorials will give you a start too. So if I click on, left click on Create New Circuit, it takes a little bit of time. It comes up, and you can move parts in here. So I can get an LED here. All I have to do is click on it once, bring it out here, drop it on the circuit. I can get a push button, click on, left click on it once, and bring it out here. I'm not dragging it. I could drag it if I want to, so whatever concept works for you there. If you don't like the part that you did, hit the delete key before you leave it go. It does it. Also notice too that if you click on these, the properties for that device come up, and I can change the LED to yellow, and I can give it a name like Bruce LED. So that I can make things work a little easier. It looks like they go away when you click on them, they come back up. So these things should be familiar to you. We work with parts. Over here on the right hand side in the search bin, I'm just dragging the parts up and down so that I can look. Notice the pull down just says basic components. If I click on all, I get more parts in there. And the parts get sophisticated. I got things that I can buy from Adafruit, like these NeoPixel rings. I got individual parts that we're learning about. Here's a 9-volt battery, and I can put breadboards and Arduinos and ICs on here, and that's pretty cool. So when I go to connect these things together, let me drag this over, left dragging these parts in a little thing, and to make a connection, you'll notice that this will tell me this is the cathode and this is the anode. So if I just click on here once, a left click, and I come out here and I click there once, and I click here once. Clicking anchors the wire down. Notice that if I move it parallel to horizontal line or parallel to the horizontal axis, I get a thing. Now notice that line's a little crooked there, so I just left clicked on that part of the line, and I dragged that little line segment there until I got that nice straight up and down line. You see it, which means it's horizontal or vertical. And I click off there and I can draw a wire. And if I want to hook a circuit up, I can draw all kinds of things on here. The problem is when I want to hook two parts up to the same thing, let's get another LED here, or let's get a cap just for something different. And I'm not going to change any of the details, but I am going to left click on here so I can drag a wire out here. I'm not going to be too crazy, but you'll notice that if I keep on putting parts in here, little kids might love this, where I just keep on clicking on here and dropping wires on there and having them all hooked up. I've seen artistically this done. It's called dead bug style, and it's not a great way to draw a circuit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my mouse over these things and use the delete key. So I'm just mousing over this, selecting it, hitting the delete key. I'm going to left click this, hit the delete key, left click this, left click this, and hit the delete key and get it wiped off of there. We know that's not the best way to hook parts together, and when we want to create a circuit, we get a breadboard. So look, they let us have breadboards. So let's drag a breadboard out here. Always irritates me a little bit because it takes a while for the breadboard to come out. I guess it's because such is a big video, so you have to be a little bit patient. But notice now that I put this breadboard on the screen, and now I can pull my LEDs and things like that. And by the way, if you don't know where the LED is, just click in the search button, the LED will come up. And I can drop these on here just like I'm using a breadboard that we've already learned about. And I can start to drop my parts on here. I can drop, let's go back to all, and let's hunt for a 74 LSIC. Oops, 74 LS, I'm typing in here, and well, 7404, let's hunt for that IC. Now, I'm grabbing that part and dropping it out here. And if any of you have been in my class before and you know me, I go nuts when people are drawing schematics this way, because I don't want you to draw the physical part. You have to learn about the schematic and figure out how to connect the physical diagram and the mechanical drawings with the electrical. This tool is meant for the mechanical diagram. So showing the ICs rather than the gates, it has a very specific purpose. That's why I'm showing you this here. So I dropped this IC on here, and these pins fell right in these holes. They just automatically go in there until you're there. So you can turn around and wire till your heart's content here like you want. You can change the colors of the wires after you put them on. You can do just about anything that you want, very similar to what you do it on the bench, and you can even simulate it. I'm not going to go into that now, but this is what we're interested in you using the tool for. One thing to note, when I had students use this and share it with me and show me how it works, you have to make the files public so that you can share them first. And I have another video that you'll see down below this. Just expand the comments and you'll see that in there. So that's really what I wanted to start to show you, and I want you to get used to these parts and pull them out and draw your circuits and maybe create documentation for your labs. I don't want you to get used to having to have this kind of diagram to put a circuit together. I want you to be able to put a circuit together from a schematic. This definitely has uses for what we do in the electronic class, and probably has uses for what you might do when you go out to some of the jobs that you're going to get. So we'll follow this up with some more details, and as we have problems, ask questions, and we'll add things to it. For now, this saves automatically, by the way. If you want to change the name, you can just go up here and type in here. So all I did was come up here, click on this, and I can give it a name and hit the enter key, and it changes the name, and it automatically saves it for me. If you want to see your files, remember it's a little hard to move back and forth. It's not really apparent. Click on this TinkerCAD logo. When you get back here, make sure you're on circuits, and you can see my burst version 2 circuit is created here. And by the way, to make it public, you just go to properties. I was right clicked on there, or and came to properties, and all you do is make this public, and that makes it shareable. And I think I had to drag this down to save changes, and that's there. So have fun. It's a cool tool. You might not think it's at the professional level, but like I said, it has a niche, a place in the documentation. And also in the future, we're going to use it to work with Arduinos and C programming, teaching C programming or Arduino programming when we get there.